Welcome back to our deep dive into ancient wisdom for modern living.
It's amazing how these philosophies from thousands of years ago are still so relevant today.
It really speaks to the enduring power of human thought.
Right.
The challenges we face may have evolved, but the fundamental questions about how to live a good life remain the same.
Exactly. So let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about applying the golden mean to our everyday lives.
Right.
How can we find that balance between extremes in a world that often feels like it's pulling us in a million different directions?
Well, it starts with self-awareness.
Mhm.
The golden mean isn't a one-size-fits-all formula.
Right.
It's about understanding our own tendencies and finding the middle path that works for us.
So it's not about being perfectly balanced in every moment, but more about recognizing when we're veering too far in one direction and course correcting.
Right. Precisely. Think about it like steering a ship. You're constantly adjusting the rudder to stay on course. The golden mean is like that internal compass that helps us navigate life's challenges.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we develop that internal compass? How do we become more aware of our own tendencies and those extremes we might be falling into?
Well, remember how we were talking about Socrates and his emphasis on self-examination?
Yeah.
That's a key part of it. We need to be willing to question our own beliefs, our assumptions, and our habits.
So it's not just about finding balance in our external world, it's also about finding balance within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that requires honest self-reflection. Ask yourself, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Where do I tend to go overboard? Where do I hold back?
Those are some tough questions. But I can see how that kind of self-knowledge would be essential for finding that golden mean.
It is. And once we have a better understanding of ourselves, we can start to make more conscious choices about how we respond to the world around us.
So it's not about suppressing our emotions or denying our desires. It's about finding a healthy and harmonious way to express them.
Exactly. Let's say you're someone who's naturally ambitious.
Okay.
The golden mean wouldn't say give up your ambition.
Right.
It would encourage you to find a balance between your drive for success and your need for rest and connection.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where you're pursuing your goals with passion, but not burning yourself out in the process.
Precisely. And that sweet spot will look different for everyone. The key is to find what works for you, what feels both challenging and sustainable.
This makes me think about how we manage stress.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a culture that glorifies busyness and constant productivity. It's easy to get caught up in that whirlwind and feel like we're never doing enough.
It's a recipe for burnout. But Stoicism and the golden mean offer some powerful antidotes to this modern epidemic of stress.
Okay, I'm all ears. How can these ancient philosophies help us chill out a bit?
Well, remember the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control. When we apply that to stress management, it's incredibly liberating.
So instead of getting all worked up about things we can't control, like traffic jams or deadlines, we focus our energy on our own actions and reactions.
Exactly. We can't control the external circumstances, but we can control how we respond to them. We can choose to approach challenges with calmness and clarity rather than getting swept away by anxiety.
That's easier said than done. But I can see how shifting our focus to what we can control would reduce a lot of unnecessary stress.
It does, and the golden mean adds another layer to this. It reminds us to find balance in our responses. We don't want to become so detached that we're apathetic to challenges, but we also don't want to overreact and create more stress for ourselves.
So it's about finding that middle path between being overly reactive and completely shutting down.
Exactly. It's about finding that calm, centered place within ourselves, even when the world around us feels chaotic.
That sense of inner peace is like a superpower in today's world. But what about our relationships with others? Can these philosophies help us navigate the complexities of love, friendship, and family?
Absolutely. Both Stoicism and the golden mean offer profound insights into building stronger and more fulfilling relationships.
I'm intrigued. How do these philosophies approach the realm of relationships?
Well, let's start with Stoicism.
Okay.
Seneca talks a lot about the importance of virtue and treating others with kindness and respect even when they're difficult.
That's a tall order, especially when we're dealing with people who push our buttons.
It is. But Seneca reminds us that we can't control other people's behavior. We can only control our own reactions.
So instead of trying to change someone or getting into a heated argument, we can choose to respond with compassion and understanding.
Precisely. And the golden mean can help us find that balance in our interactions. It encourages us to be assertive but not aggressive, compassionate but not overly accommodating.
It's about finding that middle ground where we're honoring our own needs and boundaries while also being respectful of others.
Exactly. And that's the key to healthy, fulfilling relationships.
Okay, this is all making a lot of sense. But I have to ask, Can these ancient philosophies really help us with something as modern as our careers? It seems like the working world today is so different from anything Seneca or Aristotle could have imagined.
It's true that the world has changed dramatically, but the fundamental human needs and desires remain the same. We all want to find work that is meaningful, fulfilling, and aligned with our values.
So how can Stoicism and the Golden Mean help us navigate the modern job market?
Well, Stoicism would encourage us to focus on what we can control. Our effort, our attitude, and our commitment to doing our best work. We can't control whether we get the promotion or the raise, but we can control our own contributions.
It's about finding satisfaction in the process, not just the outcome.
Exactly. And the golden mean reminds us to find balance in our careers. We don't want to be so comfortable that we're bored, but we also don't want to be so stressed that we're miserable.
It's about finding that sweet spot between pushing ourselves and honoring our limits.
Precisely. And it's important to remember that what constitutes balance will vary from person to person. What matters is that your career feels aligned with your values and brings you a sense of purpose.
This is all so eye-opening.
Hmm.
I'm starting to see how these ancient philosophies can be applied to so many different areas of our modern lives. It's like we've been given a set of ancient keys to unlock a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
And the best part is we get to choose which keys to use and how to apply them.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to integrate these philosophies into your life.
It's about finding what resonates with you
Hmm.
and adapting these principles to your own unique circumstances.
Exactly. And that's where the real journey begins. But before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
You know what really strikes me is how both Stoicism and the Golden Mean emphasize taking responsibility for our own well-being.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in blaming external circumstances or other people for our unhappiness.
Right.
But these philosophies remind us that true peace and fulfillment come from within.
That's such a crucial insight. And it's a radical idea even today.
Yeah.
We're constantly bombarded with messages that happiness is something we need to acquire or achieve.
Hmm.
But Stoicism and the Golden Mean suggest that happiness is a state of being that we cultivate through our choices and our mindset.
It's like we've been given a blueprint for building inner resilience.
Yeah.
We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond, how we interpret events, and how we choose to move forward.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the question you raised earlier.
Yeah.
Which path resonates with you more? Stoic calm or Aristotelian balance?
I have to admit, I'm still wrestling with that.
So do.
Both philosophies offer such valuable insights.
Yeah.
It's like I want to embrace the Stoic serenity and the Aristotelian quest for balance.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even possible?
I think it absolutely is. In fact, I see these philosophies as complementary rather than contradictory.
Okay.
Stoicism gives us the tools to navigate challenges with grace and resilience, while a golden mean helps us find that sweet spot in all areas of life, that point of harmony where we're not overdoing or underdoing anything.
So it's not either situation, it's more like a boat hand approach.
Hmm.
We can draw wisdom from both traditions and create a personalized philosophy that works for us.
Precisely. And that's the beauty of philosophy. It's not a rigid set of rules, but an invitation to explore, to question, to experiment, and to find what resonates with your own unique soul.
I feel like we've been given this incredible toolbox filled with ancient wisdom, and we get to choose which tools to use and how to apply them to our own lives.
Exactly. And the more we use these tools, the more skilled we become at crafting a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and resilient, even in the face of chaos.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to challenge our listeners to think about what they've learned today. What resonated with you most? Was it the Stoic idea of focusing on what you can control? The Golden Mean's emphasis on balance? Or maybe a combination of both? Take a moment to reflect on how you can integrate these insights into your own life.
Even one small change can make a big difference. Start by choosing one area where you want to cultivate more peace, balance, or intention. Maybe it's your reaction to stress, your approach to work, or your interactions with loved ones. Experiment with these ancient tools and see what happens.
It's like we're embarking on a grand philosophical adventure, and the destination is a life lived with more wisdom, purpose, and joy. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure exploring these timeless ideas with you. And remember, the journey of self-discovery and philosophical exploration is ongoing. Keep questioning, keep seeking, and keep growing.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a topic that's sure to expand your mind and inspire you to live a more intentional and fulfilling life. Until then, keep seeking that wisdom on the go.